Welcome back, Emerald County. Been a morning of artists, so we decided we're going to bring in Sabina Turner and welcome her to AM Live. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing good, doing good.
It's so nice to have you with us and to share your talent.
Thank you.
You're going to have some demonstrations and lessons coming up.
I do. I give classes at my studio on Wednesday mornings, starting from 10 going to 12:30.
Okay.
And they're just whatever medium the person wants to work in.
Right.
And you're located where, Sabina?
I live in Fiddletown.
Okay.
Kind of
And if they want to get a hold of you, is there a number that they can call?
Yes, my telephone number is 209-245-6581. And my email is Sabina, Sabina, @sabinaturner.com.
Oh, great. Well, good.
That's good. Maybe we can get Mikey to zoom in here for us. We've got, is this a watercolor here?
This is a watercolor I just finished yesterday.
That's beautiful.
So I thought I'd bring it, and I want to show you the materials that I use to make a watercolor.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, there's a lot more to it than you think.
Okay.
Watercolor's kind of, it's a difficult medium, am I right? Because it's so light.
Watercolor's a medium you need instruction for, because there's a lot to know as far as the types of pigments, when you use them, how you use them, how much water, different mediums. There is a lot, and most people, if they try to do it themselves, they get frustrated and say, this is too hard, and they stop. I've been doing it so many years that it just is not a problem for me anymore.
So this course that you're offering, is it for the beginner level?
It's individual. It's a
Okay.
very small class. I like to work with each student on whatever they're trying to project as far as their artistic ideas. I like to teach them the skills that they need to follow through on those.
Now, Sabina, how do you give someone that say a newcomer that wants to start and they want to start with watercolors, how do you guide them through that? Because I can imagine, like you said, it can be very frustrating because there's different brushes, there's different, isn't there different watercolors, different?
Very much. Yeah, I brought some of my brushes, all these fancy brushes that you can buy, and I usually use this one.
Ah.
And if you're working large, you want larger brushes. If you're working small, you can get smaller. These little black, what are they, black silver brushes are wonderful. They have a real nice tip, and they act very much like a Kolinsky sable, which is much more expensive. And you'll probably want a nice flat
I
one and a half
I did
to
some
2
trim
inch.
with one of those the other day.
I did
Not
some
this
trim
one, I
myself.
Yeah, and this is a nice brush to drizzle paint onto your surface. They each have a different purpose. This is my eraser.
Ah.
When I get something I don't like, I take this and hopefully gently wash it off. And if I have a good rag paper, I can usually do that without just damaging the paper.
Now, with watercolor, that's one medium that if you make a mistake, you do have an opportunity to do that, to kind of correct it? No.
Oh yeah, I can
Okay.
just imagine a professional artist working 3 weeks on a painting and he drips something down and says, oh my gosh, I can't correct it, I better start over.
Yeah, there you go.
One of the most liberating things that you can do is to find out how to fix it. And there are ways. It can take a little time, but it's certainly worth it, and it's certainly something you need to know.
Is there a certain, do you have to start with lighter colors and then work your way into darker colors?
You do. Yes, with watercolor you start light and then you get darker as you progress. And maybe I'll be able to come in and show you eventually what I do. This is the type of paints that we get. They're in tubes.
Oh, okay.
And they're softer. When I'm beginning to paint, I will often squeeze some fresh
fun.
paint into the wells that I use.
Okay.
I start the beginners off on a very limited palette. I use, this is my ultramarine blue, and then
Pretty.
this is burnt sienna. And with those two, they can learn how to do warm and cool colors. They'll learn how much pigment versus water to use, how to use their brush, how to do washes. And they're not dealing with a full range. They can make a gray at first, and then when you're looking at your warm and cool colors, begin to separate the browns from the blue and evil paintings.
So basically, it's practice, 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 and just get in there and just do it and see
Right.
what appeals to your eye.
Right. And
Now, where did you get your inspiration?
inspiration? It's my job. I wake up in
There's
the
a
morning
big-
inspired every day at 5
Right.
o'clock.
There you
The old Benjamin Franklin is what we'll call it.
Right. No, I have more ideas than I ever will have time to paint.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Lately, I've been doing the last couple of years a series on Native Americans, which is the one
That's
of the ones I
beautiful.
brought. Oh,
That's
Thank
very,
you.
very, very nice.
I just love their regalia and their expression, their artistry, and their costumes.
The expression in his
Expressions
face
and
is it says a lot.
right.
And a painting should speak to you, right? When you look at it, it should tell a story.
Yeah, it does. I like telling a story about the person I'm painting as much as possible. So, and let me get back to the colors.
Okay.
When you're competent with your 2-color mix, then I'll step you up to a 3-color mix. Yellow, blue, and I use permanent rose. And most of the painting that I finished here were done with that.
And that's your primary.
3 colors.
Your 3 primary colors.
I also have a split primary, which is a warm and cool of each color.
Okay.
And I have a couple convenience colors. I like cerulean blue and, of course, my burnt sienna. And that's just, with those paints, I can make just about any color. I do have a few extras on here just because I like to try something, or maybe one does a little more granulating than another. Maybe one makes a little better washes, so I may use those pigments occasionally. This is a Robert E. Wood palette. I like it because it has large wells. I use bigger brushes.
Right. That is a large well.
And that way I can get my brushes in and out without splaying them.
And do you do any painting at all?
I don't do any water. I definitely have an interest in it. I always, I'm fascinated by the tones that are created. So if I had the time,
Yeah.
I think I would put more into it.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, is that you have to take time to put your passion on your paper or canvas or whatever you do.
Right. One of the things people don't think about when they're doing art, watercolor, oils, whatever, is that it's very similar to being a musician or an athlete. You have to practice every day. So if you just go 10 minutes in a day, you won't lose your skills. If you go more than that, then you'll gain.
Okay. Sabina, hold that thought. We're going to run to an ad break. We'll be right back with the closing of Friday's AM Live.
Oh,
Stick with us.
interesting. That's very interesting.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.